smiles and just goes, "Oh yeah, everything is crazy. It's existentialism, right? Like there's no point, whatever." But Batman also had a fucked up day. His parents got shot in front of him, but he decides to use that for the betterment of everybody else. He says, "You know what? I don't want the thing that happened to me to happen to anybody else." So it's like the same circumstances, different choices, completely different people.
But to me, it was the difference that you were saying about Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
Like Alfred was there.
Yeah, which is a like an aspect of why one person would go and choose one way versus the other, right? Because the Riddler, his choices in the movie is he's just out to hurt people. He says that he wants to unmask the truth and help liberate Gotham or whatever, but no, he just wants to kill people that like took advantage of him, that neglected him, rejected him. I'm sorry, this is my Batman podcast. What's up?
You should have a Batman podcast.
I don't know.
See, you could talk for hours.
I'm happy to continue talking about the Batman, by the way. If you
We're going to change the subject a little bit.
If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay.
Hi, I'm the Fine.
And I'm the Water, and you're listening to A Cup of Tea.
A podcast about exploring life through each other's eyes.
And I'm the
sharing
potato.
a cup of tea with you. Oh, right. Wait, how?
What?
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, I threw a wrench into that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I like it better when we don't do it smoothly.
Nice.
Yeah. It adds something to it.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It's kind of part of it.
So yes, today we have Pablo as our guy in the chair.
Hey, what's up?
Who
They got me over
originally
here in a corner.
That's kind of like where you've done your interactions from. It made you the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very well. What are you drinking?
Coffee, which we got the other day at Whole Foods. It's just because I told you at some point, I feel like a month ago now, that I went to this coffee place called Parallel 49 with Ibiza.
Oh, yeah?
And that I loved their coffee. And then I found out they also sell it at Whole Foods. So we were there the other day. And I needed coffee, so I got some of it. And I really like it.
Yeah. I just tried it, but it was too hot even for me. And that's saying a lot. But I want to try it again later because we already had one that we got for ACOT. That is really good. And you think you're sure.
Yeah. Well.
She can't have nice things, people.
No.
And the one that we got first, the one that I had, it was like very chocolatey, I think.
Yeah.
It was like a mocha situation. And the one that you got, which kind of feels more like something I would get, had fig in it, which is like my favorite.
Well,
thing.
it doesn't have fig though.
No, well, it doesn't have fig.
It's just like notes of
A
pecan and fig and I think Dutch processed cocoa.
Now I really want figs.
I was going to say you have them, but no, they're dates.
They're dates. I have dates, which I also love, but I miss figs. Anyway.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. All I know is that my favorite dates are with this woman.
That was cute. Thanks, babe.
Mm-hmm.
What are you drinking, babe?
I'm drinking good old-fashioned H2O. I didn't get it at Whole Foods or nothing. Straight out of the tap. What's up?
That's Canada for you. We can't do that in Mexico.
No. And it's so sad. Like, it's such a... I think you don't even think about it until it, like, slaps you in the face. Because I went back to Mexico, right? And seriously, the tap water there is so hard and disgusting. And, like...
No, I do think about it. I'm very grateful for the fact that, like, our tap water over here is pretty good. Because, like, my brother lives in Monterrey, and they recently had, like, a water shortage crisis.
Oh, yeah.
So just kind of put stuff into perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're pretty lucky.
Yeah.
We can have some water. What's up?
True. Word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well.
Dollar sign.
So, the potato introduced us to today's topic.
Yes. Which is fascinating. And we really liked it. Unexpected. I would say unexpectedly. I was not... First, because he recommended this to me,
Mhm.
and I guess to many other people, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. The first time, not that I wasn't gonna watch it, but I did not think it would be as transformative as it has been. I feel
It
like.
has been. Yeah. I mean, I had it on my list for a really long time, but I didn't watch it because I was like, oh, maybe Pablo would like to watch it. So I was like, okay, I'll wait. And we watched it together, and he obsessed a little bit over it.
Yes.
Yeah, it fucked me up.
Do you want to tell us?
Well, shout out to my dad because he's the one that actually introduced it to me. I had seen it on your list, Chris Hemsworth thing, but I wasn't really sure what it was about or anything.
It's a Limitless series.
It was the Limitless series by Chris Hemsworth on Disney Plus. Totally recommend it. But yeah, my dad goes, "Hey, you need to watch this show," and I'm like, "All right, cool, Dad. Like, you don't usually recommend stuff. Let's check it out, right?" And so we started watching it. And I remember telling you as we were watching it to not binge it all at once. Like I wanted to give it its proper space, let it breathe. Because from the get-go, I was like, this is pretty interesting show. What they're doing over here. The basic gist of it is he is trying to extend his life as much as he can. Because there's like longevity experts. I know you guys have like read up on it since. Spoiler alert.
I think you did now.
Spoiler alert or whatever, but
behind you.
Do you have the book?
It's in my room now.
Oh wow.
I was just gonna say we can have it here. Like, whoo, we can pull it out behind you.
I took it to my room last night to read it in bed.
Production design today.
That's okay. You can just throw up a PNG.
Yes.
Boom. There it is. Because there's people that like obsess about this kind of stuff. Like trying to extend their lives as much as they can. Previous to this show, I really wasn't of that idea. I kind of subscribed a little bit more to like what comedians say of like, oh, dude, I can't wait to be that old. Like I can't wait to be old enough where like people get upset if you try to help carry stuff or what. Like, dude, what are you doing? You're trying to kill yourself? Like, sit down.
I didn't know you had that.
I don't know. It's just like, my grandparents seem to just be pretty chill, right? So that's the sort of example that I had of like, they just seem to, just relax, and I'm
chill.
Yeah, I'm kind of that idea of like, oh, we're gonna run like a nasty Mario Kart tournament in the retirement home when I'm old.
Cute.
Like I'm just gonna destroy these fools. But no, this show gave me a different perspective of like, oh, you can be more than that. You can still be active. You can, be healthy. Go on hikes or whatever. Like here we try to make the most of living here in Canada, so we go to hikes. And I remember one time seeing like this elder couple just walking down with their walking sticks. I'm like, what are you like?
I was like, goals.
Yeah, how are you
that
not?
That must be us.
How are you not out of breath right now? Because I was.
Right.
So it was pretty cool. It was pretty interesting of like, oh yeah, if you take care of your body and it sounds pretty self-evident, but if you take care of your body, if you take care of your mental health and everything, you'll lead a better life. And so what Chris Hemsworth does, because he's so extra, he puts himself in like dangerous situations or crazy stunts to sort of challenge himself. And also while he's challenging himself with these amazing like tasks, he explains the science behind it. Right. So one episode he goes swimming in the Arctic and you're like, I don't know if I could do that or whatever. But he's like, oh, actually, it's really good for your health if you take cold dunks regularly and you expose your body to different temperatures, because then that way, you fight illnesses and you get your immune system better, stuff like that. So I was like, that's very interesting, Chris Hemsworth. I did not know that. So every episode is kind of like that. It's different aspects. One talks about like stress, another talks about like strength. I don't want to go beat by beat, right? But the last episode, my goodness, like it's amazing. Everybody needs to see it because it talks about like just life in general, and it made me go like, oh my goodness. Because I remember sitting down, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, well, what does it say about me? I'm just some fucking in a couch, sitting here eating Cheetos, while this guy's over here killing it. Like, what am I doing? I need to step it up.
Yeah, but I feel like you actually did.
Oh no!
Because within this whole thing of like, oh, let's not binge watch it. Let's do one episode at a time and kind of see. Because the cool thing, yes, he can be very extra and he does these crazy things and he has Peter Attia and other people help him out. But at the end, what I really like is that they give you kind of like, so he did this crazy thing, but the way he's going to implement what he's learned is in this very kind of simple day-to-day life.
Yeah, very approachable thing that he is going to do and you could do too if you wanted to.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, it was sort of inviting that of like, oh, well, I could definitely just, turn the shower a little colder, last 30 seconds of my shower.
A little colder.
And like, sure, it might be difficult. Like, because when I told that to my mom, she's like, what? Are you serious? Like, she doesn't speak like this, by the way. You've seen her in another episode. Plug.
Pockets in the universe. Yeah.
Thank you. But she's like, what? No, I don't think I could. And I'm like, I don't know. It's something, right? It doesn't take that much out of my day.
Yeah.
It was tough at the beginning, but then you get used to it.
I feel like the cold thing has been your favorite thing out of all the like little habits that we've tried to do. And I think at some point it was like, oh, the cold thing is your favorite thing, but it's like my nemesis. It's the one thing that I hate the most.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what was like the easiest part for me. That was the most difficult part for you.
Like the one thing I know I haven't done is like the fasting.
Fasting? I think that's it.
Because gotta have my pizzas, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like that's the one area where I'm like, I'm sorry, Chris. But more importantly, I'm sorry, me. Like I'm letting myself down here. I eat like a trash panda, like a raccoon.
I feel like you're getting better.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better, but at the same time, gotta have my Domino's every week. It's slowly killing me, but I'm like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. What can I say?
But you know what? There's something that I don't think he mentions in the show, but there's this thing that Peter Attia at least goes on about. There's two aspects to longevity. There's lifespan, obviously, and then there's health span, which he makes the point that, okay, you can live to 100 years, but if during those 100 years you killed yourself to be that age while not really enjoying your life because
Puss in Boots is what you're saying. It's that movie basically. Like the cat is. I'm sorry. Like the cat is just trying to fight death and like trying to run away from it. But then the moment he realizes like this is no way to live, and like he just decides to actually fight for his life and actually enjoy it. Yeah, that's when it brings him a lot of meaning.
Exactly.
That's the other point, right?
Domino's every week brings you joy.
Yeah, I should cut down, but
I mean the thing is that you could have Domino's, but you could also fast. Right?
No, I could also eat more veggies.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember, I think that's right, where it was like, oh, my nemesis is cold water. Although, like, since we watched that episode, we've actually done the shower thing where, like, we shower, whatever, and then at the last 30 seconds or 60 seconds, we turn it to cold. And, like, I'll give it to you. You actually go to like the most extreme, the coldest thing that you can have, and it's insane. I can't. I turn it cold to where I can stand it.
Wait.
Weak move.
Is it being cold enough that you shock yourself, or not really?
I don't know that it's a shock. It's definitely uncomfortable.
She's like teeter-tottering in that line of like. Oh,
it has to be a bit of a thermal shock.
Yeah.
It
yeah, like
I'm not shivering, but like to me it is very uncomfortable.
I mean, I'm not saying you should shiver and like to be to the brink of hypothermia, but it needs to be a thing that you're not just, oh, I'm cooling off after
No.
a hot shower.
Yeah, no, you need to have that moment where you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Like
Basically.
I do. The thing is that I feel like because we experience temperatures different, then you feel like I'm not doing the thing. But however much I'm doing the thing or I'm not doing the thing, I do feel like it has helped me.
No, you put in the effort. I'm like we're just pulling your leg in the sense of like there is a threshold that you could push.
Yeah,
more.
I agree. But
Right.
what I'm saying is I'm seeing results. Like that's
good.
my point.
That's good.
Which I think is the cool part. And to be fair, we haven't tried to fast. And
Yeah.
like I remember that when I lived in the preserve, I used to fast like twice a week on different days when it was like my lowest workload of a day, which was still pretty insane. And a lot of very interesting things would happen. Like I didn't get hungry, and then food started tasting different, which was the coolest part. It was like I could taste the sweetness of a broccoli, which was really weird, but really cool. So like I feel like it helps, and I do want to do it again. I just haven't had the actual sort of discipline to be like, okay, I am fasting today, which I really want to do. So
yeah, I've never gone a day in my life without eating, which is really good in the sense of like
you've never gone hungry.
I've never gone hungry. Shout out again, my dad, my mom, everybody. Thanks. But I don't know. That's kind of a crazy thought. Like, just I've never had to not eat anything.
I mean,
for
it's
a
not
day.
like I did it because I didn't have anything to eat.
No, but like
eat,
going back to the show, like they also do a cool thing of like they show you cultures around the world where you're like, oh man, this is crazy, but then you're like, oh no, actually, people live like this.
Yeah,
like there's like these Japanese, I want to say like Japanese monks that go and take like these like really intense cold dunks to like build that mental fortitude. Because I was gonna say that's also something I really like about like the cold dunks.
Yeah,
it's because initially you're like, oh fuck, but then you're like, all right, you gotta. It's all here. It's all in my head. I gotta.
Yeah.
I gotta sharpen up. I can't let this thing beat me, right? And then
I do like the cold dunks that we've done like in our bathtub. It's just like just go.
I am so looking forward to doing a cold dunk in English Bay this winter. I really want to go. I really want to see what that's all about. I just want to do it.
Okay.
Like, I don't care. Like, y'all need to film it.
I'll go with you.
I've
said that I'll go with you.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
No.
Maybe I would do it with you.
Interesting. Hell yeah. Let's go. Because, I'm like, that sounds awesome. That sounds like a cool thing. Cool life experience. Cool being the important word here in the sentence.
I'd rather fast.
Interesting. I mean, we can still fat. But anyway, all of this is to say that like these things in this show was sort of like a wake up call of like you can always choose to lead a healthier life.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about like every 40-year-old man that I've ever met, but like they just all collectively look like they've given up, right? Like their bodies are just mashed potatoes. But like that was also a cool thing of the show. There was like this 50-year-old man. He's like, oh yeah, I've been pudgy all my life or whatever. But then when I was 50, I picked up the bike.
The bicycle.
And I've never been healthier. Like
it's never late.
It's never too late. It's never too late to sort of decide how you want to lead your life. And I think, choosing to be healthier. Like I'm not the biggest fan of going to the gym, but I just got to stick with it because I know that it's healthy and I know that it'll be better for me in the long run and how I feel. Like I wasn't for like sleeping and stuff. That was also another big one.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Before I would go to sleep at like 1, 2 in the morning every day and then wake up at like 11 the next day. But because of life and because of this woman not shutting the blinds, my
plan has worked, people.
Yeah, I now get tired at like 10 at night. I go to sleep at 11 and then I wake up at like 7 in the morning. Which at first I was like, the fuck? Like, I can't play video games now? What are you talking? Like, because she's saying, oh, why don't you just play video games during the day? I'm like, it's not the same. Like,
I agree.
it's not the same. Like, if you play games in the middle of the day, you're just like, what am I doing here? Like,
Oh, but if you play in the middle of the night, it's like totally cool.
Yeah, it's completely
it's pure
different.
entertainment. It's beautiful.
It's completely different. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
You can't shake your head. You don't know what you're talking about.
No.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's completely different. But now I like get tired and I'm like, I can't play like but it's better. It's a small sacrifice, but in the long run I feel like it helps. I haven't been late to like meetings or I never was late to school, right? In that sense. And like all my friends would constantly complain, like, oh dude, I'm so tired. I'm like, I don't know what you're tired. Like I'm all right. I don't need coffee. I'm just I was properly rested.
Sweet.
Anyway.
That's cute. Mm-hmm. Did it change your life?
I think it was. The thing is that since the preserve, I was very sort of conscious in that sense with like the fasting and everything, and Doc and people there were very like onto. There used to be these like before the Apple Watches and whatever and
Fitbit?
stuff. Even before Fitbit, it was just like a bracelet thing, and everybody loved it. I don't remember what the name of it was. But everybody had one and they like gave them to us to like track our stuff and whatever. And then there was the fasting thing. Because it was kind of a very sort of Zen philosophy and kind of being very healthy of mind and spirit and whatever and your body and things. I don't think it changed my life. I think that like that's kind of why it was already on my list. Kind of this idea of a little bit of adventure and action and stuff, but also this healthy mindset situation. I just think it added and it was a very well put show in that sense of like, sure, it's entertaining because of the crazy stuff that they get Chris to do. But there's also that component of like, they explain a lot of stuff to you and they give you this little bit at the end of like, this is the way that you can incorporate this in a basic, regular, day-to-day life approach.
I agree with that. Like, I don't think I'm not a fan of like, oh, did it change your life like this thing? Like, if you go and you watch it, your life is completely different. No, like, if you choose to follow up on that and read more on that, then it could lead you to something new and something interesting and like new habits and stuff like that. The video file by itself is not going to change your life, right?
No.
But I agree that like the show does a really good job at like making that interesting and approachable, and you as an audience, you're like, yeah, you know. Well, I again, I don't know about you, but I was just sitting like, I'm just over here on the couch, like, what am I doing?
See,
the wake up call thing.
Yeah. I think that's what that's exactly what I mean, because at least for me, it was a little bit like you, like, oh yeah, I kind of know this. Like the first chapter or the first episode about stress was not at all something surprising. I just thought it was cool. And unlike you, I didn't know what to expect from it because I thought it would be more of a Bear Grylls type of thing where a celebrity goes on adventures and whatever. And rather what happened was that I was also very enthralled by it and started watching it one by one instead of just binging the whole thing. And I saw it, then I told my dad to watch it, and I told my grandma to watch it too.
We're like telling everybody to watch it.
Yes, this is a cult now. Because what did change in my mind about it was that I had never really thought about how long I was going to live. And at a certain time in my life, when I was younger, I used to think, oh, maybe I'll just die young. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was a thing. Like, I remember having
how young?
Like 20-something.
What?
I just used to think that I was not going to live that long. You know, not that I would kill myself or something. I just did not envision my life after 27 or something. Like, that's I did not know what it was going to be like. And I had no expectations and no, like, vision of it at all. And this thing sort of made me like step back and be like, oh, maybe.
And take a look ahead at
Yeah,
what
yeah,
your
yeah.
life would be.
Like, I mean, not a lot, not that I have my whole life planned out and I know how I'm gonna be like when I'm 60 or 80 or something. But it did sort of make me stop and think, oh, maybe this is what my life will be like when I'm 50, and this is what it'll be like when I'm 80. And how do I want to feel about it? Because at the same time that I was watching this, and it happened in several episodes, I would think of, okay, so I see my grandmas who are 80 something now, and they're both okay, I guess. But one of them can't really see. I know they both have huge mobility problems where they both walk with canes now. And one of my grandmas, like my mom's side, she's the one that can't really see. My dad's mom had a bit of a hearing loss problem. She had a stroke, a very minor stroke, which led to more complications. And what I kept telling her was, you need to exercise more. And she always loved swimming. But then the doctor was like, you can't swim anymore because of the ear problem.
Oh,
and
no.
so I was thinking, man, I want to avoid that at all costs for me. And then I want to help her convince herself that she can get over it. Even though she's like, no, I'm already 85 or 83. There's no point. I'm already old. There's no way my body's going to change or I'm going to improve. And I kept saying, no, but you can't. I mean, and the worst part, I think for me, and it's the most annoying, is that she's a doctor. So she has that thing of, I know. Like, I know what's better for me. And I'm not saying that I know more than her, but I do think she's sort of blinded to the fact that if she works, and I keep saying this to her kind of as a joke, but I said, you should you should lift weights. And no, I'm not saying you're going to become a bodybuilder. I'm just saying, since you already know that you lose muscle mass and your muscle tone is really bad, then if you do this one little thing slowly, you're going to improve. And I found I think it's the strength episode where there's this older lady who is a bodybuilder, and she talks about her path in bodybuilding and then more endurance training, and now she's teaching stuff. I was like, man, see, I want to be like that woman when I'm 85. So it did change my life in that way of being more aware of of myself and trying as much as possible, because I know that I can't brainwash people into thinking like me now. But sort of convincing my dad, for example, to be a little bit more mindful with his eating, like what Pablo was saying about, okay, maybe not Domino's every day of the week, or my grandma trying to move more, and I'm also doing it as much as I can. And it's sometimes hard to incorporate all these different things because I think there can be an overwhelming aspect to it of, oh, okay, so you're telling me that now I need to go to the gym and I need to eat better and I need to sleep better and I need to control my stress and think about the memory thing, because they talk about memory and Alzheimer's and how to avoid cognitive decline, and there's so these things that you need to do. But I think it's actually not that hard. So I mean, there are things with, like, you struggle with the cold water. Pablo struggles with
Please explain how it's not that hard.
Because I think
I agree.
Because
you
if
agree?
you take it slowly, it's
Okay.
the thing is, and because I know that I struggle with it, which is why now I feel like, okay, it's not that hard, because it's about giving yourself the chance to not be perfect about it all the time.
Okay.
Like, okay, so today I ate, like, I was supposed, or it would have been better for me to just eat 2 slices of pizza instead of 4, or instead of the entire pizza. But if I feel okay about it, it's not the end of the world. As long as it's not every day, it's like giving yourself a pass. Or for example, I can just talk about this. Like me yesterday, I woke up super late. I was procrastinating all day, and I thought, man, like this day sucks. What the hell am I doing? This day has just been wasted. And then it took a moment of me actually being like on my desk, thinking, okay, it's 5. Technically, I could still go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. Like I have to go and walk uphill, and it's kind of cold, and but then I feeling really afterwards really good about it because I did go. I was like, okay, the first part of the day was fucking horrible, and I felt really bad, but it's fine. It's like I don't have to be 100% all the time as long as I keep doing these like basic things. Or if I miss one of the things, then it's okay because I'm like doing it and I'm not giving up. It's more about being disciplined and following through over a longer period of time than being perfect every day.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, especially now that you say discipline, I feel it's been something I've had to learn where when I heard discipline, when it came to habits and stuff, I would think of myself as someone that couldn't be disciplined because I thought of it as I have to be 100% perfect every
Yeah.
day in order for me to be disciplined.
disciplined.
And then I
Yeah.
realized, and I had to learn, and this actually changed my life, that it doesn't work like that. And maybe there's like amazing people, athletes, geniuses, I don't know, that can be 100%, which I don't think, every day of their life. But it is that I do agree with her that it's not that hard. Like it is hard. There is an effort that you have to put in.
Yeah.
But I think it takes a load off when you don't, when you understand that you don't need to be perfect. You just have to keep going. So it's even a little bit of that sort of building habits, right? And it's like the cold water that even though I don't like, even if I don't turn it all the way to the coldest possible water, I still turn it to the cold water. And I'm, you know, I'm not maybe doing it in the most perfect way, but I'm doing it and it's working to my placebo brain maybe, but that's the thing. And even with food, which has been a process for me when it came to like, oh, I don't eat meat, but then I want to be vegan, but then I don't have enough nutrients in me because I don't like to cook, and like a whole shebang of how to manage my eating situation. But it's the little habits, and you learn a little bit and you try to cover your basics. And yeah, like every now and then I'll have cake, I'll have pizza with you, I'll do stuff. And I don't even feel like that's fucking up. Like it doesn't make me feel bad to have
Yeah,
pizza
no.
or cake or brownies or stuff because I know that I don't do it often enough for me to feel bad about it. And I know that I'm covering my bases with the food that I eat most of the time. Like this is what I have for breakfast. I almost every day have the same breakfast. And then yeah, like my lunch and my dinner, my switch around and stuff. And there's little things that I would like to start changing where it's like sometimes I have dinner very late and I don't love that. So I could like start fasting, like have my latest
meal earlier.
earlier, which would be nice. But sometimes I'm actually hungry because like I've been working all day and I'm hungry and I get home and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it's just a work in progress. And as long as you understand that it is and will continue to be a work in progress, then you're already doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just being kind to yourself
Yeah.
in these processes, because like you said, it's a work in progress, and there's that whole thing of like, well, if you do 1% every day, then you're 365% of the way there by the end of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you say like, oh, it's easy, it makes me go like, I don't know, because like I've always been better at like quitting stuff than building habits, right? Because it can be very difficult. I think like change, despite being the one constant thing in our lives, can be very threatening and scary for
Yeah.
a lot of people. So there's a lot of effort that goes into just that 1% of the time. Like with your story about the gym, like
Yeah.
I can be like, I didn't want to go to the gym today, but I went, right?
Well, yeah, but for me to get to that point, there's been a lot of days when I've just like, I won't go,
yeah,
and making up excuses for myself. But then
that doesn't mean that day was wasted or that day was bad, though.
No, but what I mean is,
unless you label it as such.
Yeah, there's that part. There's how you, if you kick yourself for not doing whatever you think you wanted to do that day, that's one thing. And the other is, I do acknowledge, I guess, that it's taken a long time for me to have the discipline to then say, okay, no, the day has been crappy, but that doesn't mean that it's completely wasted, and I should do this. And it does take an effort. And there's this thing that actually I was talking with Davicha the other day, and she was writing this essay about being talented versus being disciplined, or I don't think disciplined was the word. I think her teacher was asking something else. Yeah, I think consistent or being a hard worker or something. And she said,
accountable? Could it be accountable?
Maybe
something
along those lines. Yeah. And she said, "Oh no, yeah, being talented is better." And I said, "Well, I don't want you to change your answer because I am saying this, but I think that talent, sure, it's good. It gives you a head start. But if you have somebody that doesn't have the same talent, but still pushes it harder and is consistent, that person is going to go farther than the one with just the talent.
Yeah.
Because they can just be lazy about it.
Yeah. Because,
right?
I mean, the talented person at some point is going to become content with what they're doing. But the consistent person is always going to try to strive to be better.
And being consistent, I think, at least for me, the being consistent has resulted because I've done small changes in stuff that I like. Because, like, if you wanted to be healthier and I say, oh, go take a fitness class every day, but you hate the stupid fitness class, then you're never gonna go.
Yeah, that's
right.
Also...
So, but if you even though right now, like, you've told me that you hate going to the gym, but you still go, I'm like, okay, well, I can understand why you hate it. I would say, well, maybe find some other thing that does it better for you.
Yeah, Mika's been saying like the similar thing. I had a lot of fun swimming the other day when we were over there. That could be cool. Or like playing hoops. I would love to play some basketball, get better at my shooting. Like that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Because just traditional, like with weights and stuff like that, it's always been on and off for me in terms of that. But to like bring it back to the show, again, spoiler for the last episode, right? But like we're all gonna die. So how you choose to lead your life is entirely up to you. And I thought that was a really good thing about this show. It just kind of puts it right there, front and center, this elephant in the room that we don't usually talk about, right? Like, who knows? Who knows if we'll even make it to be that old, right? People die young. Accidents happen. So what can you do each day to, like, what do you hold important? Like, is it health? Is it your hobbies? Is it your vices? Is it family? Is it friends? Like, that's up to you to decide. And I know it can be a lot. And that's why a lot of people are like, fucking, some people turn to religion or some people turn to a passion or something. But we're all going to die. And like 100 years from now, nobody's going to remember us. Like, that's also the crazy thing. So it's scary. It's a slap in the face for sure. But I think that episode did a really good job of being like, yeah, so just fucking live life and just enjoy it, right? Like that's the worst thing you can do is like we've been given this gift of being alive for whatever reason. We don't know why we're here. And the thing that you weren't gonna do is beat yourself up the entire way and just be miserable. Nah, fuck that. Yeah. And I feel, again, going back to that thing of like there's so many kids nowadays that feel anxious and depressed and stuff like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know who's teaching us to think like this, right? Because what a world would it have been if I had, all this time thought and have been aware of these things, right? Of like, oh, we're all going to die someday. Try to enjoy it. Make good choices. Don't be a dick, right?
I feel like we're at a very good age to be aware of these things.
Oh,
I don't think you needed to be aware of it when you were 10.
No. But what I'm saying is like because my little small theory here, little tangent, right? I think that we're all wired, and like the image that I use in my head is like 2 track athletes, but it's like a toy, right? With like 2 cranks, right? And one of the athletes is a positive thought, and the other is a negative thought. And each day you get to crank one of the 2, right? You only get 1 crank, and that moves the little athlete forward, right? So for what I mean, but I'm saying like I'm fighting against like those years behind of like crank.
The lapse that the negative thought has on the positive one.
This dude has been running cycles and on the positive thoughts. But every day you have to get up and you have to do that 1%, that 1 crank to try to catch it up. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying like it would have been really nice if from an earlier age, if I didn't fucking worry so much when I was in high school, like, oh my God, nobody likes me. Oh my God, I'm not gonna end up doing anything. Like, you don't know that. Shut up. You're fucking 12. So to be able to now, like you said, for a good age to like turn the other way and like start turning the other crank, the crank that makes you go, let's go this way instead of that way. I think it's a good thing. So with everything that we've been talking about, like, I don't know, like you need to watch this show. They do a really good job. It's Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah,
he's fucking great.
That was something that I did not know when you told me about it. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Darren Aronofsky. Yeah. Look at that.
It's really well put together.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy the like more formal aspect of it and the storytelling and how they record and everything. But yeah.
Yeah. But that last episode, it's that slap in the face, and that's why I think everybody's like, oh, you need to watch this thing. You're like, because it touches on a very human thing, right? Of like we're all gonna die. It's a reality. Sooner or later, our time's gonna come, and the show does a really good job of being like it's okay. It's not as scary as it sounds.
Yeah, I think it's really funny that I remember when you told me about the last episode before I watched it. You were like, the last episode.
Yeah.
And so when I was gonna watch the last episode, I didn't know what it was gonna be about because I did not want to see the spoilers and the chapter descriptions and everything. So I just started, and it was really very cute and very maybe not for example, this is one of the things where maybe for me it wasn't as transformative as it was for you because of one that thought I had for a long time of I'm gonna die young, so I'm okay with dying. It's never been but it's like I'm not joking, and I'm not talking about killing myself.
Yeah, not in a self-deprecating way.
But I'm like seriously, several times in my life, I've thought, okay, what would happen if I died today? And I'd be completely fine with it. And because, not that I've had so many deaths in my life, but I've had massive ones. So they have been a way for me to notice that death is there. And so I don't feel like, for one, and I think we've had this conversation at least a couple of times, talking about dying and the impact it has, because there's this like taboo aspect that they touch on a little bit, I think, on that episode, where they say, oh yeah, but we don't talk about aging and we don't talk about dying, and they have this death doula woman who talks about well, no spoilers, but she's really cute, and they talk about like his end of life and what he wants to feel like and enjoy what he's been through and all of that. And that reminded me of when my mom hired this thanatologist, and she had us, and like it was my mom and my brother and my grandma, the thanatologist, her friends, and other people. We were in the circle talking about what we felt towards my mom dying.
Oh wow, that's not.
Yeah, and there in the moment, I know that I should have said, "Oh, I love you," and a lot of things that I didn't say. And that moment taught me to like actually say things, you know. And so I see a lot of the value in sort of being slapped in the face of you're gonna die, and you need to do something about it. And so for me, instead of it being more of a shock, it was, I guess, a little bit more of how do you want to approach your potential death. And a little bit to what you were saying before, to me, it's enjoying life and doing, like, okay, I don't like going to the gym, so I'm gonna go swimming. And it's about how to get to that point a little bit. And there's this kind of thing that I've been having in my brain for the last 2 days, and that I kind of talked about when we were heading here. Of I want to have a life where I've like eaten pizza every week, and I've seen my friends every week. And I was saying there's something that I feel like we in our 20s don't think about a lot when it comes to our functionality, like our body functionality. And I was listening to, I think it was a Peter Attia and Huberman podcast, because, you know, I'm like obsessed now, where they were talking about, or at least Peter was talking about optimizing for function rather than performance, and the difference between a sports, like an athlete, somebody who's optimizing to perform better, and they're saying like a quarterback is gonna work so that he can, I don't know, run faster, throw better, whatever. But like us in general, maybe we're gonna what?
Be more pliable.
Sure.
That's what Tom Brady says.
Yeah. But maybe we work on our functionality better for like going on hikes, going swimming in freezing water if we want to. So, like, having that shift in my thinking about sort of going through these habits that we want to build to improve our lives and to make it, if we die tomorrow, make it as amazing and as enjoyable and as worthwhile as we could. You know?
I feel like there's a bit of a warning of when people say you only live once type of thing, and like, let's enjoy life, and it's one life that you have, and things like that. Where I'm completely with you when it comes to let's enjoy our life, but that does not mean kind of
Being
going
careless?
crazy. Yeah, exactly. Because at some point, I there was some talk in school or whatever, and they were talking about two different words in Greek for happiness, which I don't remember what they are, so I'm sorry. But one of them sort of meant immediate happiness, and another one meant the happiness in the long run.
It's like I don't know what the Greek thing is, but the way I thought about it, and I think this came from a TED Talk, was, are you happy with your life or about your life? And the two ways of approaching it, yeah. So one thing, that being happy with your life, I think, if I remember this correctly, was, are you happy right now? Like, are you happy with your relationship, your apartment, your job, your blah, 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 and listing all the things that you have right now that make you happy or unhappy if you don't have them or whatever. And then being happy about your life in general is about your journey, and are you happy with the experiences you've had, the people you've met, you know?
Yeah. I think it can apply to that, but it's also in this way of like, ooh, so because, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this about pizza. It's not against you. But like, because I like pizza and I want to live my life and enjoy my life, am I going to have pizza every day? Then like, no.
The dream.
No. See, like that's the thing. Because if you do eat pizza every day and cake and whatever makes you
I mean, the consequence is you'll die sooner. But
yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of a balance between an immediate happiness,
like instant gratification.
Yeah,
versus,
exactly. An instant gratification versus
delayed,
and maybe I won't satiate my craving of pizza right now, but I'm gonna feel better this week or something.
Yeah.
Like that sounds a little exaggerated, but this sort of let's enjoy life, because I feel like there's a misunderstanding when it comes to like being healthy must equal like this
being
horribleness.
super strict and
and
horribleness.
Like,
horribleness.
Yeah,
I feel like people have this idea that being healthy and exercising and working out and like all of these things that are good for you feel bad or like
no, because they take effort.
Yeah, but
do.
I think
it's so much easier to just lay on your ass on the couch and order, food.
It takes a lot more effort to get up, cook some vegetables, and be a little bit more creative. And going to the gym, maybe in the moment working out, you feel like crap, but when you're done with it, you feel great.
Yeah.
Right. So.
But like, why do you think people think it's horrible? Outside of because of the effort, like, do you think people just have a stigma towards?
Yeah,
exercise,
I totally feel
healthy?
like there's this negative idea about being healthy. Maybe even like comparing it to like snobbiness.
Interesting.
Do you not feel that?
I don't. No, not
really.
No, like you're constantly hearing about like all the benefits of being healthy. And
so you think it's only an effort thing, only a people being you don't think that there's some sort of dissonance of like why wouldn't people want to be healthier?
I mean, as a kid, you're like, yeah, yucky vegetables or whatever.
That's what I mean.
But
I feel like it applies to adults as well.
But no, as you grow, or as at least in my experience, right? Like, yeah, I never came even close to a vegetable growing up. Which is kind of, I know, whatever. I'm tall. What's up? But now growing up, I have to realize like, oh yeah, I should totally be eating better, because if I eat like I did when I was 6, I'm just constantly gonna have migraines, and I'm gonna constantly. So you look at healthy stuff as good because it makes you feel better. I don't know.
I see what you mean, and I agree, but I think it's a bit of a learning curve, especially at least in my experience for older people, for people that have not been exposed to this kind of thinking a lot, and so it does take a bigger effort for them to think, oh, well. The first few times I work out, however they do it, it's going to be, I'm going to be winded and I'm going to be tired and my muscles are going to ache. And so they stop doing it because they don't see an immediate result. And there's this thing with the sort of short-sightedness of the you only live once and the right now, I think, very generalized desire for instant gratification where you go to the gym and you want to be super puff the next day, and all of these things we're talking about don't work at all like that. It's all about the time that you like years spent doing this to see results, and maybe it's a little faster with, I don't know, maybe you start eating broccoli more often and slowly you see, oh, my digestion's better, I have less migraines, I have more energy or whatever. Right?
No, but I think that negative thought is more tied to like how difficult it is to do that 1%, right? Because staying consistent with something is really hard.
Yeah.
Is like building a habit and all of that. Like, sure, there's science behind it, and you only need to do it for 28 days, and then it'll come secondhand. Like, it's hard. It's hard to turn your life around again, change. So I think that negative feeling is not so much tied towards like healthy stuff, but just that disappointment when you don't follow through, or when you fall out of a habit, or when you think you're gonna commit to something, but then you don't. That's a feeling right there.
See, that's what that comes back to what we were saying. I feel like at first, of when you were saying, "Oh, how is it easy?" and it's that precisely when it was 21 days, and then on day 19 I failed, and you beat yourself up because I know that I've done it. Like, I fucked up on the 19th day. What's the point? I might just give up.
Yeah.
Right? Where now, at least I've learned, like, okay, no, it's fine. You missed one day, but the other 18 days have been perfect. So you can just keep going. And it's fine if you miss one day because you're not losing what you already did. You're losing what you already did if you because of one day you give up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the mental hurdles of like beating yourself up for that one day, I know. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all about like how you treat yourself through the process, right? Like how nice you are to yourself through the process. Because again, you said, "Oh, old people feel this way about like working out because this and that." I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking like, no, I know exactly what these old people are talking about, right? Like I feel that same way. Like, oh, I wanted to do 15 reps, but instead I only did 10. Ah, man, I guess I'm not built for it, right? Like, just that struggle with it is gonna weigh as much as you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. And going back to the YOLO thing, if people just want to eat pizza every day and then die young versus being miserable at their old age, that's also a choice. Like, I'm kind of advocating for like some hippie shit here of like, just you have one life, live it however you want. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah,
And
no. Like I agree.
Always try to be better.
I agree that it's choices, and someone can choose to eat as malnourished as they want.
Yeah.
I just want to say, if they know what they're doing, if they know that they're giving up, maybe, I don't know, I'm just throwing numbers, like 50 years of their life.
Yeah.
Or they're going to leave, I don't know, 70 years, but their last 30 are going to suck.
Yeah.
If they know that, then like, by all means, live however way you want. It's your life. You're going to be aching. You're going to be having the disease. That's you.
Yeah. I mean, my grandpa would like outsmoke everybody. He would have like 2 packs a day or something. He would just smoke like a chimney, this guy. But then towards his like later years, he was just constantly out of breath. Like, he couldn't go up a flight of stairs by himself, right? It's not the prettiest sight.
Yeah.
That's why it shook me so much. I was like, this dude going up this mountain right now is probably old or as old as my grandpa was. And look at this guy. He's like outpacing me. What the hell? My grandpa would just be sitting there watching Star Trek or whatever. Not to diss my grandpa, right? Like, we all make our choices, right? But yeah, it's all up to you. Their choices. Which crank do you want to spin every day, and how nice are you going to be to yourself? I think is the big thing.
Yeah.
Because this show is pretty good at being like, hey, these are some habits that you can do, right? But the reason I've been finding the cold dunks super fun is because I've been treating it like something fun, something to look forward to. Yeah. Not as like oh fuck, I have to do this. Oh, because if I don't do this, I suck. No.
Okay,
like I'm just good. Like, yeah, it's cool, right? So it's all about the mentality that you go into things and how you treat yourself when you fall down.
So how did you do that to the cold dunks, but you can't do it to the gym?
Yeah, Because I'm human. What do you like?
No, I'm just wondering if it's
Well,
a process of thought, or
well,
if you had
because
to like.
with the cold dunk, I don't feel. With the cold dunk, I feel kind of gratified when I do it.
Okay.
Whereas the gym, I don't get that gratification, right? Like there's that whole Pavlovian thing of like, if you want a dog to do something, you got to give it a treat, right? And like, that's why, yeah, that's like they talked about it like game design school or whatever, like how when you're building a game, you're trying to build that habit of like, if you do this thing, you're going to get this other thing.
What's your treat with the cold dunk?
Oh, I just feel like a badass when I do it. I'm like, and Navy SEALs, baby, nah, like it's all up here. You didn't beat me, I beat you. Hell yeah, I can take it. What's up, right? Like it feels good. Whereas the gym, I'm just very like tired at the end of it. Like rarely do I walk out of the gym going like, fucking look at me, what's up? I'm the king, I'm the shit. You know, like it's I don't have that reward in place.
I wonder if you're doing more like if you're taking it to a point where it's working against you. But like don't get me wrong, I also don't like going to the gym, but I found the thing that I do like, which is like pole and dancing and yoga and stuff. So I know that if I want to work out and I want to make it a nice experience for myself, I need to do it this way.
Yeah.
Because I also don't like going to the gym. I'm just trying to see like if you have this sort of secret key that you use for the cold dunk stuff and the water stuff, could you apply it to the gym? Or
Maybe.
if it's just a matter of finding the thing that you actually enjoy.
Which
could be.
Could be. Yeah. Like I could definitely try out more stuff, right? Big fan of football. So maybe if I join a league or something, that'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be
like
a lot of fun.
But that's the key word, right? Like fun. You're trying to find something that you are looking forward to, something that will give you joy at the end of, because again, going back to how are you going to go through that process? Is it going to be a jovial experience where you're like, all right, this is cool, or is it going to be like something I have to like sludge through and have to push myself to sort of
see? But with the cold water, I just want to like have you see this with the cold water. Even though you still have to have certain effort and mentality, it's quote unquote not as hard as the gym thing.
Yeah, because I don't think that the cold water is as taxing an experience as.
But it involves an effort. It's what I'm saying with Majo and I being like, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
you're doing it.
I think it's, and I don't know how much you're setting yourself up for feeling not as excited or not as rewarded before you start the gym thing. Like I don't know how much you think. I can like go back to my experience at least, because when I started going to the gym, for me it was about training when I was dancing, and so I wanted to do it better, but I was very proud and very obnoxious about it because I thought, oh, I already have my routine. I don't need to be coached. I don't need to somebody tell me what I'm doing and la la la. And at first, I didn't know what I was doing, and I thought, well, everybody, that very cliche thing of like, oh, everybody's gonna see that I'm doing this wrong or whatever. And so I hated going because I thought, oh, I'm not, like, I don't know what I'm doing, even though I pretend to know. And I feel like this is, I mean, so far it's not working yet. And I don't like this. And I feel horrible. And I should be doing better. And like all these things that were taking away from whatever progress I might have been actually doing. And the way that it shifted for me, at least, is that I started learning more about, specifically because I've become a nerd about it, like a lot more about anatomy and physiognomy and how things work and how to move better and how to, like, how things work. And so now I can be like, oh, okay, I know how to do this movement and I know how it helps me. And so if I do a deadlift, then my back and my legs and blah, blah, blah. And so that has made it enjoyable for me because I know what I'm doing and I can be very focused on it. And it's a moment of deep self-awareness and like being present with my body. So it's a very meditative experience.
Yeah, I think that's like your reward
Yeah.
for going to the
So
gym.
my-
Like, that's
my-
what you get out of it.
My thing is like maybe what could help you if, and I'm not saying that you're stuck with going to the gym forever, but if right now is the one thing that you can do,
Mhm.
sort of reframe it in a way that you can start to see a positive thing out of it. Because maybe the first, I don't know, 2 weeks, I don't know how long you've been actually going, but maybe after 1 month, you will start not feeling tired right away, but feeling more energized after it. Like, I think that's what I meant a little bit also with the learning curve of people not going to the gym because I feel tired, because I feel achy and all that. So there's a thing to overcome when you're starting to work out in a different way of like, oh, first I feel like I'm dead, I'm tired, and I don't want to do this anymore. But then as you get used to it and like your body adapts to whatever thing you're doing, then you start feeling better about it. And so the reward is not immediate, but it gets there at some point.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is the Jedi mind trick that she's saying of like, well,
Yeah.
how can you do it for the water versus the gym? I think with the water, it was easier to just kind of, because it's exhilarating, and like the act of like standing under the water is fun in and of itself. I think, at least for me, right? Whereas the gym, yeah, going back to like high school, the way I perceived it was way different. Where it's like, oh, you got to be an alpha dude, and like it's all about crushing your sets, bro. And like, if you don't get through all of them, then this must be something wrong with you. Oh, and by the way, you got to do it with the heaviest weights too. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But now, I guess what I'm like the Jedi mind trick that I'm trying to do is of just like showing up. Like, if you can just show up and do something and get a sweat going, then you've done good. Yeah. Right? Because the physical act of going to the gym, I don't find as much fun. Like, I'm not like, not like, oh fuck yeah, this is as fun as swimming, you know? Like, oh, bench pressing, oh yeah, it's as good as rock climbing. Not like, I don't
rock climbing.
Yeah, like I would much rather be doing something like that, right? But because I can't go rock climbing every day, because I'm not choosing for that to be my life, and I still need to keep active, I'm like, well, the gym is a good option to stay active, right? I have a means to go to the gym and try to keep that up. Because also, sometimes, like right now, I'm in a time where like I have a lot of free time, but sooner or later, I'm going to not be as available with my time. So I'm trying to make the most out of this free time that I have right now to sort of build that habit.
Yeah.
Because I understand how important it is to like keep active, right? Like there's been periods of time in my life where I haven't done anything, like any exercise or anything like that, and I do feel more tired. I do feel like, you know, just kind of like angry and sad all the time. Like I remember telling you, I was like, I feel like I'm old. Like my joints hurt, and then I'm out of breath, and it sucks.
So you feel different?
I mean, I don't know. It hasn't been that long to tell.
I don't mean like this time that you just started going to the gym again. I just mean because of the way you're speaking. Like, are you seeing some sort of like before and after situation?
No, like I'm slowly, like, I'm doing a Jedi mind trick on myself, right? Of like, this is a healthy thing. I need to stick with it because there will be those benefits, right? Because later I'll be more energized or whatever, or I'll finally feel happy with how I look, right? But just sticking with it. Because I remember like last year in Michigan, I was with this dude that was like a bodybuilder. And I was like, dude, so what are you doing? And he's like, well, you know, the biggest thing that you can do is just show up. And if you show up and you do something, then you've gotten closer to where you want to do, to where you want to be.
Yeah. Right.
And another thing, like sort of losing the fear of going to the gym was like, there's this video by like Will Smith, which I know you love.
I do.
Where he talks about like looking for failure, right? And like how it's our biggest teacher. It's the thing that gives us a lot of like really tries us, because success is only going to get you so far or whatever. But if you seek failure, you're going to constantly be growing. You're going to constantly be like trying new things and learning and all of that. So when you go to the gym, you're not going to finish the set and crush it. You're going to see how, like, you're testing yourself. How far can you go? And then coming back and seeing how far you can go. So right now, the way I'm approaching it is like, well, I'm going to go see how far I can go into this routine. If I don't do it perfectly, it doesn't matter, because at least I showed up. Because at least I'm doing something, you know?
Let's go.
Yeah. So, but the physical act of it is still not as fun. So I'd still need to find something to be like, whoa, yeah. Maybe.
I'm like, what if on Sundays we go swimming?
I like that idea.
I mean, you go swimming and I'll go in the paddleboard and I'll like watch you guys and I'll paddle and I'll be your safety, and you know, like we did the other day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that both of you would really enjoy.
Yeah.
And
That'd be
I
really
totally feel like we could do it on Sundays, and it could be like our little thing. And I think that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. I would love that.
A little pickup games of basketball too. Sure. But yeah, I'm down for swimming.
Any further thoughts?
I really appreciate the death situation of the last episode. I also, maybe like you, I don't feel like it was that shocking maybe, especially like since my dad, and a little bit with the psychology and thanatology, and kind of that, like, I've had an interest in death before.
Yeah.
And especially since my dad, and since like all the conversations about death that we've had.
Well, but like time out though, because like it's not like it was my first approach at anything death related, right? Like fucking Rick and Morty talks about it all the time, and like, there's so many things like, and stuff. But like it just felt like the first like adult sort of conversation.
Yeah, no,
because up to this point, like all the people that have died in my life have been like old, right? And so you kind of have like a different relationship to it.
Yeah.
But and yeah, like you get existential and like during high school, and you swear off religion because you're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. We're all gonna die or whatever. But like the show did a really good job at like sitting you down and being like, all right, let's talk about it. You know?
Yeah. Like to me, where I was going to is that sort of, I feel like I'm constantly thinking about death. It's just so present in my life. It's like that kind of memento mori of like constantly being aware that we are dying, like right now.
Yeah.
And
oh, you said memento mori.
Yes.
I thought you said meowmento mori. I was like,
I said memento mori.
Okay, I was like, do they know my game? Like, that's a really good plug. Thank you.
Yeah, you can check out Pablo's game, memento mori.
Put the link in the description.
We will. No worries. We'll put it over there.
Yeah, the little itch link.
Corner.
And I feel like it's very freeing.
Yeah.
And it's completely, like, at least to me, it completely doesn't give me that sort of like, oh yeah, YOLO, like, I'm going to live and I'm going to die tomorrow, so I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want. Like, it doesn't give me that at all. But it does give me this sort of appreciation for life and wanting to live a good life. Meaning that kind of like, at its total sort of a balanced, good life where you are healthy, where you can move and you can do the stuff that you want to do, and you have friends and a community and people, and like I find that very rewarding, and that kind of pushes me to be like, oh, let's be healthy and let's be active and let's learn
people and help people.
Yeah.
Give back. Don't be a dick.
We're gonna put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna be part of the merch line.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they go hand in hand. The death and the impending death basically, and the time. Like being very aware, because that's what it felt like for me, and I think that's a thought that I didn't fully finish before. That has nothing to do necessarily with watching the show, but just this awareness that I've had, at least over the last year, about being very mindful with my time and appreciating it a lot more, and being very aware of who I spend my time with, how long I spend on stupid things that do nothing for me.
Yeah.
And like, I know that a lot of people have the timer thingy on their phone to not, like, the screen time. But like seriously, look at the screen time on your phone and be like, does that extra 30 minutes of scrolling, like doom scrolling through Instagram, bring you exactly sufficient joy to like actually be spending that 30 minutes there? Because you could be, I don't know, watching a movie that you like and it's a little less stupid, or it gives you more happiness or whatever, you know? I don't know.
Unless the scrolling actually gives you something.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I don't understand how people rewatch series.
You don't?
Like, I think the most I've rewatched something is like twice, right? But because it's such a time commitment.
It is.
To sit down and watch a show all the way through.
But well, you know, if it's like somebody else's pizza.
Maybe, yeah. But it's just, in my mind, I'm like, you could be watching something else. Like, there's so many shows and so many movies.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a whole other conversation of comfort watching stuff that we've had before. Where it's like comfort food, you don't feel prepared to watch something new. You just want something reliable.
Exactly. I feel like that last night. No interest in
anything
committing to any other thing, any other show. Yeah, I like this episode.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Did you like your cup of tea?
Yeah, this was enjoyable. This was better than I thought.
Nice. I'll take it.
I was like, maybe this could be a thing. I don't know. Oh! Not saying every week, not saying every month. Just every now and a while. So anyway, the cinematography, right? The cinematography of the Batman, amazing. Is very
we're gonna
shallow
give you your own
depth
podcast.
Of field to really put you in there.
We'll give you your own. You can talk about Batman there.
The color palette is
basically
really
grayscale, but
What do you mean basically? Look, the reds, the oranges, the yellows.
True.
My goodness. Plus, Gotham City has never been better realized.
We'll see you next time.
Gotham City has never been better realized. I'm sorry, Tim Burton. Your Gotham City is pretty good.
I love this.
Me too.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us. Send us your comments using the hashtag acotcast. And remember to subscribe to get fresh episodes every week.